Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Okay, we are on over here. Alrighty. Apologies for a bit of the delay. Just had to make sure a couple things were set. The tank is empty. Okay, and we are good to go. It's been a bit, guys. I apologize. It's getting life things in order, but things are a little bit better now. We will be starting the stream pretty soon over here. Just hold on tight, sit back, relax, grab a drink from the cafe car, and enjoy the show. Let's get this started. Hello everybody! Welcome aboard! It is I, your host, and it's been a while. I apologize for the time and delay. Life got in the way. Things happened, but here I am. We're back, and we got some good news to share finally. So we got some good news. Okay. Hello everybody! Hello Grambo first. Yes, I know, David, it has been a while indeed. Hello Steven, hello Adam, hello Renell, hello Zhang Lui. Alrighty, so let me just fix up the chat over here so you guys can see what is going on with the chat. That's always a nice thing. I gotta figure that out to make it a little bit better because I'm kind of doing it in a pretty set up way over there. Okay, let's get that fixed here on OBS. But yeah, guys, while we're waiting, I hope you all are doing well. Things have been going a little bit crazy. I mean, good things at least are happening over in the state of Florida, which, you know, for all the jokes that I make about in Florida and everything, yeah, honestly, it's going to be the state that's going to be the best off out of all the 50 states, which is funny to say that. And, you know, I make fun of Florida, you know, for the crazy things that happen in Florida for some of the people, especially in South Florida, absolutely. But, you know, we have to give credit where credit is due. I mean, come on, we now have, for the first time, a Brightline train has entered the Orlando station. Now, last year we did, me and Holly, while Holly was still here on this earth, we did go ahead and visit the Orlando station. Well, I went inside. She wanted to stay in the car just in case, you know, I was running out and some guy with, you know, rent-a-cop was chasing after. None of that happened or anything like that. So it was just in case she wanted to stay outside. But I did go inside the station. You can go ahead and check that out on the channel if you want. Go ahead and see the tour of the Orlando station. And again, the station was meant to be, it was in construction prior to Brightline or All Aboard Florida existing. It was already on point over there in order to facilitate travel between what would have been the 2009 proposed Tampa to Brightline high-speed rail train during the Obama administration. Of course, that never came to fruition, so now the Brightline train is now for get that a little bit better over here. There you go, so you guys can see that there. Yeah, so now this is going to be for Brightline. So they are fixing up a bit of the station to at least make sure that it's up to par for Brightline standards, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, there it is. It is a milestone. So the train that is over here is Brightline 2. That was the one that was delivered in February of this year from the Sacramento/Pittsburgh, in Pittsburgh, California. It's actually spelled a different way than Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And the Pittsburgh facility where Siemens manufactures these chargers for Brightline and also for the rest of the country. So you can see that. But we are at 80% completion. 80% completion for Brightline here. Yeah, building its line from Miami through Brevard County over the airport in Orange County. The line will begin carrying passengers from Orlando to Miami in 2023. I mean, this is pretty exciting, guys. It is fantastic that this is happening. And again, we can go ahead and see a video while all that is happening. You guys can be able to see that. Let's see if I do have the desktop audio going. We'll test that out right now.
That the news stopped yesterday. Take a listen. Right now, the train is just going through a test run, so you can't take it just yet. Brightline engineers say having a train stop at the airport is a big milestone for transportation in the area.
to be able to have high-speed, premium passenger rail service here in the Orlando region and connecting down to Miami is just the future. And I'm excited that we've been part of that and been able to make that happen.
Brightline says the project is about 80% done. It's scheduled to start taking passengers from Miami to Orlando sometime next year. And Luann is already looking forward to that.
I am. I get to go see my son who lives in Miami very quickly. Better than driving, in my opinion.
Much better than driving. I'll do anything other than drive.
Oh yeah. So there we go. That's something that's going on. I'm trying to get some video over here to get a bit of an update of what's going on at the Aventura station as well, because that's actually been going on as well.
Fireball that erupted at a gas.
Oh, that's a whole other thing. All right, let me see if I can get this going here. So Darius sent this over to me. If I can get this actually playing, I don't know why it doesn't want to play. I guess we can download it and then put it up on the desktop. But yeah, that's what you guys can see. So things have been moving over for Brightline. So that is very good. Now let me see if I can go ahead and get that opened up. There we go. Let's see if I can show you guys this. There we are. So this is one part of the Aventura station. Let me go ahead and center this just a bit over here. Okay. There we are. Okay, I don't know why OBS has been being a little silly for me today. There we go. Alright, that's a little bit better. Okay, so here we are in Aventura. Let me bring you guys up to context of where things are. That is US 1. That is going north over in Aventura. If you look over, probably, let me just see if I can point it. There we are. There we go. Okay, so this way in the picture, across the street, eastward, is the Aventura Mall. Those pylons that you see right over here is going to be the bridge that goes across over to the Aventura Mall. So it will be a walkway over there to go ahead and go over to there. So the station is also being built. Let me see if I can get the video also now too, so you guys can be able to see that. Trying to see if this will load onto here, but I guess not. Oh well. Okay, yeah, I guess we're not going to get any video for that. Oh well. At least for now. Well, let me see if I can just bring it up on my phone and then just... We'll just show it in the most janky way possible, unfortunately, but it will have to suffice, I guess. Video footage isn't even that good, honestly. Let me see if I can bring it to full screen so you guys can see. Where is it? There we go. Okay, so now you guys can see me. I don't know how good you can see this, but Darius sent me this, so I'll go ahead and try to... Again, this is a pretty ghetto way of showing it, but let's go ahead and see it. And let's get it so the brightness comes out. So there you go. That's the Aventura station right there. In construction. I'll probably get some more pictures on the way. I did have some drone footage before as well. That was just like right before all the bad stuff started to happen. So I mean, I'll go ahead and access it, but I mean, things have changed from there. It's really changed very quickly of how it looks right now so far. So yeah, that is Brightline. So we can talk about more about that. And I'm gonna try to make this a shorter stream. So we're gonna go quickly through the articles of what we have today, and then we'll bring you over in the audience. To go ahead and make the calls, and then we will end it there. So I'm trying to do this new format of going through the articles and then going ahead and having the calls in and then go from there if we do the shorter stream. So seems like we're getting in there pretty quickly. All right. So here's another quick thing that I found also online through Railway Age, and this is pretty recent. A look at the Acela. Let's go ahead and put that center on here. This is from Railway Age. So here's a picture, basically a picture tour of there. A correspondent from Railway Age went ahead and had an inside look at it. So you can see the Alstom of Acela is set and ready to go. And it's definitely very much one of the nicer trains in America so far. I would put it a peg underneath Brightline. Brightline is definitely the nicest train in America, Acela is second. All right, and I think that's fair. So there we are. So you can see here's the first class section over here. Kind of similar to Brightline, but you don't really see the charging cable, at least from here. I don't know if maybe they're accessible somewhere else, but I don't see them. I don't know if you guys do. But yeah, that's where we are. So this is the disability accessible section over here. This is the cafe car. So they got the cafe cars back here in full swing. This is pretty nice to see. We got the first class seating over here. This is what the tables and trays are going to look at. Think about it. It's so nice to be able to go on something and you don't have to put up your tray tables 30 minutes, before you take off or land and all that sort of BS. You just have it right there and you can have a drink. You can be on your laptop the minute you get in and don't have anybody, clamoring or annoying you or anything like that. So that's pretty nice. You got luggage racks over here, so you can bring in whatever large luggage you want without paying any extra. Put it in there. It's just far more convenient to be on a train. We've talked about this over and over again, but hey, I'm preaching to the choir at this point, right? The bathrooms, there we are. This is not Amtrak bathrooms. What is this? An actual bathroom you can walk in with an actual faucet and everything? Yeah, there we go. Here's the conductor's desk over here. His little cubby hideaway. They can be over here and be able to stay in contact with dispatch and all that. Pretty cool. And again, very similar to Brightline, the wheelchair access bridge right over here. So that just comes out and the platforms are level with the train. Very similar to Brightline. And here's the dining car over here. Or part of the cafe car, I think. Oh, we got a toaster. We have a toaster on Amtrak. There we are, the business class section. You got more of the... this first class car has its own galley. Okay, nice. Get coffee, microwave stuff, etc. So there we go. That's not bad at all whatsoever. Very nice. Overall, very impressive. Not me, the train said. Yeah, there we are. So that's the Acela right there. That was pretty quick, simple, and to the point. We'll go ahead and check some of the comments over here and see what's going on over there. I don't know why computer's been acting up just a little bit, but haven't used it in quite a bit over here. I've been using another laptop to do working from home and type of stuff. So I got a new job now. It seems to be going well. Hopefully, pray for me that it stays because the other job that I had, it was a kind of a long commute. It wasn't paying as much as, it was just something that I picked up to at least keep the tide going, and yeah. So for you guys that didn't know, yeah, I was selling firearms over at Cabela's. Because I consider myself pretty. I don't consider myself an expert, but I consider myself pretty proficient in firearms, which is now back in the news again. But hey, it's the United States. I'm not gonna get into it in this stream. You guys who know me know what my politics are on that, so I'm not gonna get into that. Let's go from bullets to bullet trains. Which, speaking of some of the slower bullet train progress that we're going over, let's talk about California, because California has been peeking out there in the news, and this is going to be relevant to a video that I am doing. So also another piece of news, we are getting another video done because we haven't done I haven't done because I'm the one that's getting this out. I am very bad when it comes to delegating, guys, so just, that's on me. Once I'm trying to get back into the groove of things, into finally a permanent set of groove of things. So like that time when we had like this good amount of videos going on with the Shinkansen video, the Hyperloop video, and that was a good amount of videos going in. We had our Instagram growing and daily posts on Facebook and stuff like that. That was basically because I had a lot of help from Holly to just keep me on focus. And then things got messed up again, and then I got back onto there. So yeah, I kind of do need help on this, but that's what it is. Yeah, shall not be infringed. Grambo shall not be infringed. Yeah, so let's go ahead and talk to let's talk about this, what's going on over here. So this is an article, May 22nd, on Planetizen, talking about the slow progress in California. Compared to everywhere else in the world, why is it taking so long for California? And it wasn't that long back in, 2008, 2009, where you had the first groundbreaking. Correct me if I'm wrong from that. But it's been nearly more than 10 years, more or less, since, the first shovels hit the ground for California high-speed rail. And there still has not been a single bit of actual rail. I mean, there's been viaducts. We can. I've had that in mind to make a meme. Instead of the California the Coomer, it's the viaductor. I'm making viaducts. Constantly spends billions of dollars to make viaducts. Never actually makes trains. Project been going on for 10 years. Meanwhile, China is making, much, or et cetera. Or meanwhile, Florida already has a train to Orlando. Something like that. If somebody wants to go ahead and make that meme, go ahead. I'm going to try to get back and check with Discord and everything like that. So this is kind of my back into it, sort of. So we'll get into that. But yeah, 58 years since the concert. It didn't seem that long when we were celebrating 50 years of the Shinkansen, hasn't it, guys? I know, and 8 years that we've been doing this so far. But yeah, here we are. Over that same period, the United States has built 0 miles of high-speed rail. Here we are. Generally, is high-speed rail. If we want to be with the definition that high-speed rail counts as 150 miles an hour. Brightline technically doesn't count as, it counts as higher speed rail, although we kind of refer to it as high speed rail because saying higher speed rail is overly cringe over and over again. And besides, it's a fantastic project anyway, and it's what's really getting everything moving forward and ahead. Of course, we got the Acela, and we can't forget about Brightline West. And like I've said before, you can bet money on it. I don't bet, but you can bet money that Brightline West is going to have trains running first before California even gets its own state project done. That is by far very, very possible. I would say with 95% confidence, Brightline is going to get that done. But yeah, according to David, 14 years. 14 years, yes, David Jackson. California High-Speed Rail, 14 years. The California High-Speed Rail Authority, guys, has been around since the 90s. Okay? It's about as old as I am. Okay? I think it was 96 when the authority was officially established. There have been plans prior to that, but the California... Let me just check that. When was the California High-Speed Rail Authority officially established? Oh man, I've got an awkward position over here. Authority. Let's see. Let's see when this was officially established, because it just gets worse from there, right? Okay, let's see. Not giving me a date here. I know I remember reading that this was established in the 90s. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the bill was signed in 2008. And then I believe in 2009, 2010-ish, I believe they had the it was 2013 when they had the groundbreaking, I think. I'm bad with dates today. Yeah, it's not giving me not giving me a date on the Wikipedia article over here. Let's see if we can go on the official website and see what we can find here. About, maybe in the About section, or maybe they're trying to hide it. Ah, man. Date of establishment. There we are, 1996. There we go. Okay, I knew it. I knew it was 1996. There we are. Okay, so I'm not crazy. Here it is. The California High-Speed Rail Authority was established in 1996 after decades of advocacy for building a high-speed rail system in California. Passage of Prop A in 2008, the following of the awarding stimulus in 2010. The construction contracts awarded in 2013. The groundbreaking was finally held in 2015. Regardless, this has been going on. You know, the Prop 1A was established in 2001 or 2008. Let's get the dates here. Let's get the dates here set. 2008 for Prop 1A, followed by the awarding of federal stimulus funds in 2010. All right, let me get this so we can see the whole thing over here. Let me see if I can get it up. Oh man, my computer does not want. Whatever. Here, you guys are gonna see it anyway. Here, I don't care. There you are. Just watch. There we go. Okay. Let me see if I can put full screen. Let's see. Okay, there we go. There we go. All right. Maybe we just put with the cam. Why is this not coming up? There we go. There we go. There we are. Okay. Now I can do this right. Okay. California High-Speed Rail established in 1996. So let's get our dates straight. Prop 1A, 2008. 2 years later, you had the stimulus. So it took them from 1996. It took them 12 years to get something on there. And it's been talked about since the 70s. Okay? So this is how long we're talking about. So we're talking about close to 30 years. 27 years. Citing delays and cost overruns, lack of transparency from the project leadership, Governor Gavin Newsom reaffirmed the state's commitment to the project on February 12, 2019. Okay, the contracts were awarded in 2013 to keep building the viaducts. I'm duking. We got to build more viaducts. And the groundbreaking ceremony was held January 6, 2015. So there we go. But even still, even if you want to go to 2015, right? We're talking about 7 years. 7 years, not one single damn train that is still running in California. So of course people are going to be upset, and of course in the news we're talking about what's going on over for California. Let me see if I can bring that up. Yep. So this was going, or at least this was what happened earlier in the month. Let me go ahead and fix up OBS over here. I'm jumping a little bit over here back and forth on this, but just bear with me, guys. Bear with me. I gotta get back into the swing of things. That in terms of swing of things. Speaking of swing, I got myself a little bit nicked on the punching bag a little bit earlier today because I've been doing with no gloves anyway, and I went for about 20 minutes or so on it. So, you gotta do what you gotta do to keep in shape, right? So let's go ahead and put this on. There we are. Yeah, the Taiwan does have high-speed rail. From Taipei over to the other major city. I forget its name, but you guys know what I'm talking about. So that's the problem with when it comes to California, right? That, and you have it that even Democrats are getting pissed off because it's taking too long. They voted on Proposition A on the fact that it would be a speedily done project and it would be done at a certain time frame, right? It would be done by 2029. They pushed it back they kept pushing it and kept pushing it and kept pushing the date, and then since then. You've had cost overruns. You've had a lot of scandals between getting all the, not the contractors. Well, the contractors were part of it, but the, I'm running on blanks over here, guys. Man. Shoot. Anyway, let's just keep going on through here. I know exactly I have it at the tip of my tongue. I just can't name it. But yeah. So this is the thing, and it's gone over $100 billion. It was originally $70 billion. It's gone up to 100, which I said, expect it's going to be $100 billion. That's That's not the problem over here. The problem isn't the amount of spending over here. It's the way that it's being spent and the amount of time it's taking. And for what? For, it's getting almost as bad as Hyperloop, because we're just getting more CG imagery. CG imagery and concrete structures, which is the same thing as the Hyperloop, right? Which is sad, because you have these little Hyperloop test tubes, which I haven't kept up with that. It's kind of disappeared in the news. I don't know. I haven't kept up with Hyperloop to see what's going on with that, but that's what it is. But you have Democrats now that are holding back funding because it's taking such a long time. Let's say, for example, here, this is Speaker Anthony Rendon, a Los Angeles Democrat. There is no confidence in the project. We had an end date of 2020, and now we don't have an end date. And again, this project was supposed to be running at least in the Central Valley by the year 2020. It was going to be from Los Angeles to San Francisco by 2029, and then the whole project was going to be completed by 2030 something. I mean, we even made a joke about this like 6-7 years ago. When talking about that, the older, when we're talking about like High Speed Rail America Club era videos, talking about how old we're gonna be waiting for the high speed rail project in California. But yeah, it just keeps getting worse and worse. So this is the problem when you have our system of government, is that you're gonna have a lot of bureaucracy is going to be cutting into there, making sure that you don't have projects in at a timely manner, because a lot of bureaucratic tape has to go through. We've been over this over and over, and we'll probably talk a little bit about that again. And again, this is also going to be more relevant to the video I'm going to do about why high-speed rail is at least a national, coast-to-coast high-speed rail network, a countrywide high-speed rail network is never ever going to get done in this country, at least with our current status of government, right? And that you can take that in a whole bunch of different ways. We'll get into that later. But here we are. In his negotiations with the legislature, Newsom has offered several billions of dollars of sweeteners to the urban centers to get $4.2 billion. So far, the Assembly has not been. And again, this was the major issue with doing it in the Central Valley. Okay, number one, the Central Valley is the more redder part of California, which again, California has been going blue anyway. At this point, California is kind of a lost cause for any of the conservatives living over there. So now they're invading into Idaho to go ahead and pretend to be conservative over there, while the rest of California follows into Idaho. Which as long as they stay over there and don't go into the Midwest or into Florida, keep them out. That's all I can say. If there's any state that I hate on more than Florida, and Florida is just a negging type of thing, honestly, but California is a state that definitely is the number one state that I just can't stand by far. And you can all complain, but California we have the highest GDP. Go ahead. I don't care about number higher, so life better. I don't fall for that fallacy anymore. For somebody who has been in the business world for such a long time, GDP does not equate to standard of living. It does not. All right. So let's not talk about that there. So the Assembly has not been. What had happened? Okay, there we are. Newsom's office did not respond for comment. Against the backdrop, Rendon and the majority of Democrats in the Assembly want to essentially detonate Newsom's plan for the rail. So, getting back to what I was saying, because they did this project and started it in the Central Valley, which I said this was going to be a mistake, don't do it in the Central Valley because you want to go ahead and shut up all the conservatives in that area and just start building something and say, it's too late. We have the viaducts are already set in. You can't stop us now. We can't stop the project. It's got to keep going full speed ahead. And by full speed ahead, we're talking about snail's pace over here at this rate, guys. But the thing is that I said we should have done Los Angeles to San Diego. Why? One of the highest revenue and most traveled Amtrak routes is between Los Angeles to San Diego. So what more of a perfect place to go ahead and test out a premium high-speed rail version? And it's the same thing. Look, Japan has done it. Just because they're saying, oh, we're gonna oversaturate the market with high-speed rail. No, you're opening it up for testing. Because some people that want to ride the Surfliner, the Amtrak Surfliner between Los Angeles to San Diego, they want a faster train. So now you provided that option, a higher cost option at that. But you've introduced that option. You've tested it out, and you say it works, and we can do that. When every other country has done high-speed rail, they did not say, oh, let's do it in the middle of the country, or let's do it between, these medium to low density, smaller cities to go ahead and get this. No, they've done it between the highest densities areas. What did Japan do the first time? Tokyo to Osaka. Okay. What did France do? Paris to Lyon. Okay. What did Germany do? Berlin to Frankfurt. But yeah, this is the thing. They don't do it. It's not. Let's go ahead and do it in the middle of the middle of nowhere. Which I'm not saying that Bakersfield and Fresno are in the middle of nowhere, but essentially compared to Los Angeles and San Diego, come on. That's no contest there in terms of density, in terms of urban planning, in terms of the amount of support you're getting. So this is why the Democrats are pissed, because the majority of Democrats live in the more urban areas, like Los Angeles, like San Francisco, and they haven't seen jack diddly squat from this project, especially in Los Angeles. At least San Francisco, they've been getting, a better station, for high-speed rail to just basically sit there, and you have a ghost station and ghost platforms, which was going to be the Orlando station until Brightline came along and fixed that and said, hey, you're not using this station, how about we use it, So again, this is not a Brightline station. This is a state of Florida station. The state of Florida paid to go ahead and build this station, and Brightline is leasing it to go ahead and use it. Sunrail will use it as well, but that's just to go ahead and say, hey, we have that available. It was going to be originally for the high-speed rail project before, but now it's for Brightline. This is completely done by the state of California, and the state of California can't even figure this out. Okay, so for all the fun that I make fun of Florida, well, South Florida and the state of Florida are two different things. But remember in the Miami International Airport station, they built the platforms too short to accommodate Amtrak, and that station was going to be an Amtrak station, and for the last decade and change, no Amtrak train has been able to go on there because they misconstructed the station. So this is what's going on over in California. The Democrats are getting ticked off because they're mostly in urban areas, and they haven't seen or reaped any benefits from this. So now they're starting to get ticked off, which I've said before. This project can still be salvaged. At this rate, there's the worst case scenario for this project at this rate is that they're going to keep going at snail's pace, which is what we're seeing right now. They're going at snail's pace. Okay, we wish them the best, because when they succeed, it's a good thing for all transit and for all rail transit and high speed rail. But this continues to be a sore spot in that. Now it can completely reversed, and if Brightline goes into California between Las Vegas, that is definitely going to sink California's boat with that. At least, to just go ahead and put the nail in the coffin and say, look, the state of California can't build a high-speed rail project. It takes a private company from Florida to go ahead and go into California space in order to do that. It's kind of insane to say that. But that is what's going on over in California. Again, we can talk about that over there. But yeah, this is what's going on. They've been negotiating back and forth. So far, there hasn't been really anything. You get the same platitudes, which again, high speed rail does contribute to more economic output. But as you cannot just keep putting out platitudes and expecting that the public is going to support you long enough when you have a project that is sluggishly going ahead and is just slathering concrete all over the Central Valley without anything to show for it. It's quite sad. So we still don't even have what sort of rolling stock they're even going to use, which I say they're going to be Siemens. Even in the CG models, they're using the Siemens Valeros, so it's most likely going to be Siemens. But I mean, for them to not even say anything or show off anything, I mean, that could at least be positive press, but they're being retarded, honestly. And you know, I say that word because it is. It's retarding the progress of high-speed rail, okay? And retarded the other way. Look, we were saying these words, you know, back in high school, middle school. I really don't care, honestly, you know. At least you can't say, you know, "coof" on YouTube. That would take us off. And there's some other articles over here. This guy saying we won't see high-speed rail in this country for at least 100 years. You know, this guy who looks like Lex Luthor over here. I don't know. You know, he's I guess the managing editor over in RTNS, but you know, I don't know. You know, it just goes to say, and I'm not going to go through this whole entire article. I read through it. It's more or less to do with California. How many mentions of Brightline are in here? 2. But, you know, again, just talking about, you know, just Brightline project over in Florida. Nothing about Brightline West or Brightline's talks about increasing the speed or anything like that. Again, nobody's giving credit to where credit is due in Brightline, which is kind of sad. But anyway. All right, so let's go into the middle of the country over here. Let's talk about Texas. All right. So for those of you who are on the Facebook group, which I haven't even touched Facebook like in forever. Honestly, I don't really care about what's going on Facebook half the time, but, you know, I should be obligated to do more on Facebook, which I guess I was forced to earlier in the month because we have found out that there were 2 interlopers within the group. So for those of you who don't know, and I'll just go ahead and read this because this is pretty much a good summary of what's going on. All right. So on May 16th at 8:32 p.m., I posted this. I've been recently made aware of certain interlopers within our group. In my more naive days, I was open to conversation and dialogue with our opponents, but as I've grown older and wiser, it is purely a waste of time. As someone once said, the time for arguments is over. There are no more arguments to be made. We have seen the fruits of the labors of the car and oil lobby, and I say no more. No more of that. With that, Roy Johnson, an active opponent against Texas Central Railway, which I come up with and these are not false pretenses or anything like that. I'm just not kicking people out of the group because I have no evidence and I don't like their face or something like that. You know, no, I have evidence for kicking them out, and I had a whole lot of messages you guys in the Facebook groups were sending me, so I went ahead and, you know, confirmed everything, and that was right. So they've been causing ruckus, trouble, you know, and saying that, and yeah, we've already said this club, rule number 1 in this club is debating is allowed, but keep it clean. But at the end of that, it says we have the right to not accept anyone who does not believe in our future or bringing high-speed rail to America. You know, that's very simple. You know, that's simple right there. Okay, so Roy Johnson is an active opponent against Texas Central Railway. Let's go ahead and see the article over here. So this was back in 2017. Let's go ahead and Control F for Roy Johnson. Signs protesting the high-speed train can be seen on properties and pickup trucks in Grimes County, including Roy Johnson's place near Acela. Show us the proof, you know. Show us the data that you're going to get 5 million riders to make this thing to justify it if they're so far off, said Johnson. His property is a few miles west of the proposed train route, which, again, if you're a few miles west, you're not going to be hearing the train, honestly. He is also a member of Texans Against High-Speed Rail. So checkmate, done, set, game set, that's it. You know, kicking him out. And then Donovan Merrick, another opponent and former Halliburton lobbyist. Well, how do you know he's a Halliburton lobbyist? Well, former global service manager at Halliburton. Yeah, so, and global service manager, that's basically corporate talk for saying he's a lobbyist. Okay, he's a global lobbyist to go ahead and schmooze and get business with other people and stuff like that. That's what it is. Whenever you see like business consultants. There you are. That now I finally got the term out of my head. The amount of consultants several a dozen and change consultants that California hired at ridiculous rates at like millions of dollars per year for these consultants to basically say nothing. You know, instead of going ahead and getting one on deck consultant, not like let's consult, Deutsche Bahn, or let's consult the JR companies, or let's consult Siemens or another company, or let's consult the Spanish companies or SNCF. No, they went ahead and just got like a bunch of consultants for no, silly reason whatsoever. I mean, heck, at that point, you might as well consult the Chinese anyway, because California's basically a colony of China. I mean, they're now, they got enough of property over there in California. At this point, might as well. But anyway, a Halliburton lobbyist, enough said. A reminder that is very clear in Rule 1 of our group in the About section. If you're not supportive of the vision of bringing high-speed rail and better transit to America, we will and can kick you out. That is our freedom to associate as well as disassociate it. But First Amendment, whatever, right? Simply put, it's our group, our rules, deal. That's it. So we got rid of him, and, and everybody liked that. and everyone clapped. There we are. So that's what we got to do, okay? And again, I'm not too active on Facebook. I've been trying to get, but my plan is to be more active on the Discord channel, because again, the Discord server is a lot more content inclusive. So I'm going to try to get more on that, especially for our age range at this point. I've been putting a lot more emphasis in trying to get millennials and Generation Z on board. So we can get that going, because that's honestly going to be at the pace that we're going. We're going to be the ones in charge of this. Whether the boomers want to let go of the torch or not. As they keep watching CNN and Fox News and trying to extend their life and and whatnot, and keep America on a flowing ground. Again, not all. I'm not gonna keep. Why do I have to keep saying it? You guys are smart enough, and if you take it personally, I don't care. Look, I make fun of millennials, I make fun of Zoomers, I make fun of everybody, So yeah, that's that, And speaking of the age gap, all right, this is the other thing. Of course, we know that Facebook has an older audience, but I've said this before. It's really a lot less to do with age. It's a lot less to do with the split between conservative or liberal or right or left between support for high speed or for transit, right? There's a lot of support between the right and the left for transit. Where you get a lot of the split, from what I've seen in my own experience, and I can come up with the numbers for this, it's going to be much more of an age difference. And I would say about 2 years ago, when I was doing much more like when I had my own 2 or 3 years ago, when I had my own business doing Facebook marketing and sort of the stuff, I was looking at the insights of different groups. And looking at our group, it was very much between, and you're gonna get an older age range on Facebook, but it was around the median range was about like 30, 32, something like that. I would say on our YouTube channel, it's definitely between the teens, 20s, and 30s. All right, so it's right there. The Gen Z and millennials make up the vast amount of viewers on the American Rail Club. But when you look at the and you look on the demographic, and like I've seen the people back down in Florida, the citizens against the train, none of them were under the age of 45 at that point, right? Again, we're talking about like we're going 8 years back over here, 8, 7, 6 years back. Nobody was under the age of 45 that was against Brightline. And then you see the same thing over with Texans against high-speed rail. If you go over for the average range, you can see this on Facebook Insights, because there's a lot that you can do with Facebook and ads and stuff like that, which is, that's the data they're getting from you guys. It's more or less just to sell you more garbage, because this is all the country runs on now is bread and circus. We've become consumerists. Everything is to buy more stuff. But anyway, you can see the average range, if I remember correctly, was 59. 59 on the Texans against high-speed rail. 59. Which corresponds with, the same thing with news. Most younger people are getting the news from the internet, and you see the average age for people watching cable news, whether it's MSNBC or Fox News or Newsmax or whatever, it's like 62, 63, 64. Okay, so that's where you're going to see that difference. It's going to be a lot more. Now, of course, there are people who are older who definitely do support high-speed rail, and they've been very active for the last several years. Have they been effective? That's up for you to decide. However, that they have been there. But again, we're talking about the vast majority. All right. Get that. Let's get statistics down there, because I keep hearing, from one or two individuals that keep saying, not all. Yes, I get it. And not all millennials are riddled on SSRIs and can't cook or whatever. And eat hot chip. Let's be honest here, okay? But it's definitely a good majority of them, right? So let's go with that. But yeah, we're still waiting on Texas to get their stuff in order over here, because it's still stuck over in SCOTUS. The Supreme Court of Texas, SCOTEX, I guess you can say. Yeah, so we're still waiting for that. And this is an article. It's not that related to news for Texas Central Railway. I was trying to get some news, but this thing screwed me over here on Law 360. They put it behind a paywall, and I've tried going ahead and archiving it. Doesn't come up. If anybody does have any access to this article from May 17th, Texas lawmakers protest high-speed rail at state high court, send that to me. Or if you have any other news or anything like that, again, send it to me on Discord. Send it to me on YouTube. Let me know. So we can get that going. Or see this, but that's what's going on. We haven't really heard anything from the Supreme Court of Texas, and until that happens, again, long story short, the case is based on whether Texas Central Railway counts as a railway or a railroad in order to use eminent domain. Again, is Texas Central Railway a railway? The world may never know. This is ridiculous. All right, so that's basically our rail news over there. Let's look at the comments here real quickly, and then we'll go into the more I would say hairy section. This is the stuff that's going to affect you guys right now, if it's not already affecting you guys. Well, it is affecting you guys. All right. And you know what I'm going to talk about. We're going to talk about the supply chain. I love talking about the supply chain. Look, I worked in logistics. I've worked in strategic management and stuff like that. So this is stuff that it's pretty up my alley, right? Especially for manufacturing companies. So I'm very much know. Yeah, should have done San Diego to LA first. This guy's name on YouTube is Moloch. I guess it's the only time that, as they say, a broken clock can be right twice a day. I guess is the time that a guy with a name of a demon as his username is correct. I guess, demons deal in half troops. I guess. Oh, man. Dolphin Ball Studios, don't California my Florida. Damn straight. That's why Texas Central Rail will probably fail. Are we talking about... I'm not quite sure of the context of this conversation here in the chat. Right on. California high-speed rail is not a transit project. It is a social project. Look, all transit projects have to deal with the social well-being of your citizens. So, yeah, that kind of is true. But if you're talking about a social engineering project... that we're going a little far-fetched. You can call anything a social engineering project. To what extent, is it some sort of mass conspiracy of social engineering? I don't know. Yes, it's Kaohsiung. Kaohsiung is the other area. Taipei to Kaohsiung is where the Taiwanese high-speed rail runs into. COOF slowed it down. The COOF didn't slow down the construction as much as it would have. Brightline just started going full speed ahead. They stopped for a couple of weeks, and then they figured out, we might as well just, we're working outside. Let's just go ahead and just get this done. So they actually caught up a little bit more. The 2028 Olympics is in LA, so having the route go through LA in time for the Olympics will be a major boost for Yeah, they're not going to get that done by that time at this rate. They're not. When is Brightline West starting construction? Between 2023 and 2024. They're just waiting on a couple more things. And it's a little bit easier because most of the area that they're using is public domain. Public land. So they just have to go basically to the GOA. I'm sorry, not the GOA. the BLM, the Bureau of Land Management. I just had to remember because I was like trying to remember like the whole Bundy saga of everything with the BLM. But yeah, that was basically what was going on. Now, are we gonna have railway robbers again? When on Brightline West? I don't think so. But hey, that's what it is. Okay, so I think that's where we're with comments. Surprising that Florida, of all places, the most progressive when it comes to newly privately owned rail companies. Yeah. And again, Florida is a lot more business friendly. Again, you don't have state income tax over in Florida, and they still have a state surplus. It goes to show you don't have to go ahead and tax people's income, especially at the insane rates that's going on. Having 30% of your income basically taken away to go to Social Security, to go to... We spend more in this country on the older populace than we do on setting our... and it's true. Look at the demographics of Congress. I mean, there are people there that should not be running the country. Or at least giving the impression that they're running the country, okay? Let's put it that way, because it's really the lobbyists and people like that in control pulling the strings. Who these lobbyists are, and again, lobbyists is a pretty broad term. Yeah. Well, you can talk about that, but we'll get into one particular group of these lobbyists later into the show. Osman Hussein, our resident "I Want California High-Speed Rail" poster. Yeah, well, tell the authority that. Tell the California High-Speed Rail Authority that. So there we are. I think we're pretty good for the comments for now. Mohammed Qureshi, will Brightline go from Victorville to San Bernardino to bypass the Pacheco Pass and possibly come into LA independent of the California High-Speed Rail? So they're going to connect with the other project over there. I'm sorry, the LA Metro. That's what's most likely going to happen. But yeah. Sebastian Burgess, his last comment, and then we'll get back on track over here. Hi from Britain. Seeing what you guys over the pond have to put up with is simply heroic. We've been lucky with new lines, Elizabeth Line especially. Keep steaming on. Godspeed and safe rails. And Godspeed to you over there across the pond as well. You guys are having a tough time there with HS2, but that's a whole other can of worms, just kind of like the California High-Speed Rail. But hey, at least you guys have a very set on rail culture. Again, the way that it's kind of set up since the Thatcher years has been kind of a mess, but I mean it's still there. Akbar Ali with the super chat. Thank you. Have they solved the tri-rail at Miami Central yet? I don't know. Let me just look that up real quick. I think they were getting that done, and that is a done deal. Tri-rail Miami Central. I think we covered that a couple months ago or so. Okay. Yeah, so here's the latest article I see is from Railway Age from March 7, 2022. Will Tri-Rail reach downtown Miami in 2022? I don't think it's going to be in 2022. Most likely 2023. But yeah, that's been approved. They're saying 90% there, according to this, to make sure everything is all set. Let's see over here. Contact Brookfield concerning the units in question. Abrams also said that Brightline has been cooperative with the effort to solve these problems so Tri-Rail can start service to downtown Miami. Plans for routing some Tri-Rail trains over the Iris Connector, a stretch of track slightly more than 4 miles long on an east-west alignment, and onto the historic FEC track now used by Brightline for access to Miami Central Station. Southbound Tri-Rail's trains would stop at the transfer station, proceed left. Abrams is hopeful that Tri-Rail will get to downtown relatively soon. Will Miami service start before the end of 22? Abrams hopes so. Things are getting better at Tri-Rail, and the score seems to be 2 down, 1 to go. At least that's what it should be. So they're waiting for the final approvals, but that seems to be moving forward. At least that's what's going on. Okay. Why do passenger trains lose money? We talked about that. They don't lose money, but there definitely are some that do. Just like any other venture that is losing money. And nobody asks, why the roadways lose money or why the airlines lose money and have to be, piggybacked by the government all the time. But that's a topic that's a lot to talk about. All right, let's get to the fun stuff. All right, so this is a way to start it up. So let's see what's going on over here. Wow, quite the mess. So, according to this tweet, massive train derailment in Alberta, Canada. Authorities in Alberta are at the scene and currently underway cleaning up after a massive train derailment. 43 Canada Pacific rail trains carrying potash. Detailed no injuries were reported. So, yeah, that's... I was just about to say potash is fertilizer. So, there's been kind of a mess going on with the supply chain. Right? You guys have probably gone to your local grocery store. I know I have. I went yesterday to go to Aldi to get some stuff for my diet. I basically keep things simple, right? I'm mostly eating ground beef. I got eggs, I got bacon, I got some pasta and noodles and stuff like that. I keep things pretty simple, right? I don't really eat chicken as much. That was more of a thing that Holly used to eat because that was like basically the only meat that she would like. She ate like a 3-year-old. Sometimes she was very picky. It was funny, and cooking for her was fun, or she would cook for me, some of the things too. But here's the poultry section at the local Aldi over here. No chickens. No chickens. The minute I saw that, I just started whistling the anthem of the USSR, and I just started laughing to myself like a maniac, with everybody looking at me. I don't care at this point, I'm not a crazy person, but it's just because nobody says anything. It seems that a lot of people just go about like this is normal. This is not normal, at least in this country as it was. This is not a normal thing, So yeah, somebody has to say something. This is not normal. Just hold on. Let's make it. Let's cue the ambience over here. Okay, let's go back to this. But yes, potash is fertilizer. Now, there has been a string of people saying, I'll leave this guys up to you, and we're actually going to do a little poll. I don't know, can I do polls on? I know people have done it on. Yes, I can do a poll. Okay. Perfect. So we'll get that done while I'm bringing this up. People have been saying that there's been a lot of disruptions in food processing plants. There's been a lot more derailments, which it has been increasing. Derailments have been increasing, and also the amount of food processing plants that have been on fire and stuff like that. I have checked. And there actually has been more news articles of food processing plants going on fire. Now, we're not saying, like the one that happened, I believe, in Idaho or Iowa. Some girl pilot, a female pilot crashed into, I'm not trying to say women can't drive, but anyways, look, a female pilot crashed into a food processing plant in Iowa. It didn't cause that much damage, so it's not like the whole thing went into flames. So some people are making, big deals about it, like, a small fire, stuff like that. But yeah, and even over here in Indianapolis, the Walmart distribution center blew up in flames to the point that the ATF went over there to go ahead and say, and if the ATF is going somewhere for a fire, that means there could have been foul play somewhere, or at least we're suspected foul play. And then another one went on fire. I mean, it was so bad. I tried to look from my phone because you could see the plumes coming up from across the county. That's how bad it was. You could see it for miles of how bad that plume was over at the Walmart distribution center. But that's the thing, This is starting to happen. And people are starting to figure, is this something that's is this on purpose, or what's going on, or is it just our infrastructure's going in, But all we can know, at least from what's going on, and again, it's not just because the infrastructure is falling apart. That's definitely, I would say, that's at the bottom of the iceberg of where things are really going on. We do have failing infrastructure. That's very much closer at the bottom of the iceberg. okay? But things like, the war in Ukraine and other things and stuff like that, which we can't talk about that anything, which I'm not going to talk about anyway, because at this point there's nothing to talk about for our channel when it comes to the war over there, and B, it's not worth it to get the video demonetized or anything like that. So who cares? But here we go. This is what's the result of everything going on right now? Well, this is what's going on. No chicken! No chicken for you! Okay, now let's stop that now. Okay, but yeah, this is what's going on. No chicken. Oh, by the way, the price of eggs, because I eat a lot of eggs. I don't eat 5 dozen eggs, but I eat a lot of eggs. So I can get large as a barge, which it's starting to become a bit of a problem because and I'm not getting fat, guys. Okay, so it's just like this suit used to fit on me before. And the top button went off. So it's not that I'm getting fat, because I still have a 28 waist. But this thing just popped off before. So I have to get that fixed. And I have a sewing kit. I do have my sewing kit somewhere over here. No, it's not in here. Well, it's somewhere. I got to get that and sew that up. Which, by the way, if you don't know how to sew, sew yourself out. It's very easy to do, okay? Which, you're going to have to start doing stuff yourself. You're going to have to start growing food, which I have been over here. I've been growing, lettuce, potatoes, watermelons, 2 corn, 3 sisters, that type of stuff. So, getting that out, and stuff like that, Gotten some squirrels during squirrel season, stuff like that, and then wait on for the other seasons, and at least if you guys are in Florida, you can go ahead and get iguanas at this point. But yeah, eggs used to be, and I remember this clearly, 75 cents for a dozen eggs, okay, at Aldi in July of 2020. They are now $2.62. Let's get that here. Inflation is a real deal. It is real, okay? And when stuff like this happens, it gets people to think, of all the things to break. And it wasn't like an oil train or anything like that, which, let's put it this way. Thank God it wasn't an oil train again. Which, I've said this before, oil belongs in pipelines. It's much easier, and it's far more, man, I'm at a loss for words tonight. It is far more convenient and far more efficient. There we are. Efficient to transport oil through pipelines. Okay, not through rail can transport a whole lot of stuff, and by far it is a far more efficient method of long haul transportation versus long haul trucking. But to see that of all the things, fertilizer, and we said this before. I said this back in January on the live stream. Texas State University. It was Texas A&M did a study that fertilizer prices have gone up 127%. Diesel prices have been going up, gas prices have been going up, etc. All right, so let me just. Oh shoot, David Jackson, eggs $5 in California. Is that just regular eggs, like the regular, just grade A, eggs, not like cage free, fancy schmancy organic eggs. Which it all comes out of a chicken anyway, right? It's like, I'm being facetious, but you guys know. So let's go ahead and put up a poll over here. I'll run this poll while I'm going through this. Or actually, let's do the poll now and see what you guys already think about this. And then I'll leave you with some of the evidence, and then you can make up your own mind. I'm not going to tell you what the guys to think on this, because it can go either way, right? We're seeing the results of it. That's all I'm saying. Look at the results. Okay, this is the result of a car-centric culture, of an oil-centric culture. So, is the supply chain crisis of food plants and trains derailings slash bursting into flames, planned or just, oh yeah, have to be 100 words, really. Let's make this easier. Okay, food plants on fire, planned or let's put coinky dink. I'm not gonna try to let's make it funny. There we are. Yes or no? Okay, good. And I was just gonna make a simple yes or no. I'm not gonna add a third option, some troll option or anything like that. Let's go ahead and ask the community. There we go. And while we're going ahead and going through this, we'll go ahead and see the articles. Okay. Yeah, look at this. Washington State Gas runs out of fuel, is prepping for $10 a gallon, which, for like I've been talking about my car, which my car is a Lexus IS 300. Do I have my little die-cast Lexus over here? Oh, I had it somewhere. Oof, oh well, I guess I don't. But anyway, yeah, that car just eats gasoline, man. It is huffing gasoline like kids at my high school used to drink up codeine. I mean, this thing is just nuts. But it's a fun car. It's great. I love that. It's an older car and it still works and everything like that. I still have to keep it up and everything. But yeah, it only takes premium gasoline. Again, for a 2JZ GE engine, it's not the twin turbo version, but it's still a 2JZ. It's still that's inline 6-cylinder 3-liter engine. Okay, it's the best 6-cylinder engine. Made by anybody. But again, it only takes premium gasoline. It takes now in Indiana prices $80 now to fill up my car. Granted, it has a 15 and some change gallon gas tank, and it can only take premium fuel because of that. Because of the engine, but it's just getting worse and worse. Thankfully, now I have a work from home type of gig, so that takes down a lot of the cost for me. But yeah, it's getting bad. And if you see now at some of your gas stations, they may have added an extra digit now to go ahead and put for these prices now, because we may see $10 a gallon, at least in some places. This is gas station Washington State. I don't know if it's current, but yeah, it's been getting bad. For regular, $5.29, $5.69 for premium. Okay, that is funny. Taco Bell is the only place you can get gas for $1.39. Oh man, yeah, but it's been getting bad over here. Well, at least in other places. I'm pretty sure people who are living over in California, God bless you guys, but it's been getting bad. Actually, let's go into here. The Northeast quietly losing out of diesel. Let's get into a little bit more of a fun article. So inflation hitting food prices. Build blackouts. So this is from Zero Hedge. Half of America faces power blackouts this summer, regulators warn. And you have what's going on, in Texas. Remember what happened in Texas back in 2021? A regular, snowy day in the Midwest shut down Texas. A regular, some snow shut down the great state of Texas. But it still has been happening. This was earlier in May. 6 power plants go offline in Texas. ERCOT asks Texans to conserve power. As we're getting into the summer, it's going to get worse. This type of scenario. But according to Reuters, it's not a conspiracy. Now, the fact checkers have checked, and they have done their checking. They have fact and checked. They checked that it is not a conspiracy to trigger U.S. food shortages. And of course, it's sharing the claim out. You have small face Charlie Kirk over here, balloon head, talking about food processing plants don't accidentally burn. I mean, there are some accidents, yes, but not at this rate. And of course, it's not at this rate. Now, here's the thing. and now I don't have that article now, but I do have to come out with it. Fires have been increasing. Let's put it that way. There has been an increase in derailments, like I said before. And I showed you that article before. There has been an increase in fires. Now, how Reuters is going about this, or at least according to here, they're saying the verdict: false. Accidents and fires at processing plants in 2022 were not planned to intentionally create food shortages. Because they haven't found any evidence that it is. Here we are. There is no evidence to suggest that any of these fires were premeditated in an effort to create a food shortages. Well, no kidding. You haven't looked for the evidence. So if there is no smoking gun because you got rid of the smoking gun, hence there is no smoking gun. What are we gonna send? We're gonna send Columbo in to go figure out that you messed up some over here. Oh, just one more thing. Just one more thing before it escapes my head. I just wanted to say that is a nice box of matches you have over there. I just had to say that. it's okay. So according to this poll over here, it's pretty split. 58% of you guys are saying yes. 42% are saying no. And I did check earlier; it was like 70%. This is according to 12 votes. It's not a scientific poll. I'm just trying to see what's going on over here. So according to this, 58 yes, 58 yes, and 42 no. Okay, so again, look, just look at what's going on, and there's reason to say it's not going to be planned, right? Why would they not want it to be planned? Well, their politicians don't want to end up like the politicians over in Sri Lanka. I don't think that it'd be good. Now I don't know if we have the pictures over here, but let me just bring you guys up to speed if you haven't already, because they're not talking about it too much on the news. Sri Lanka has been having a food shortage crisis, which basically as the saying goes, you're only 3 meals away from riots, right? 3 skipped meals away from riots. That's it. So if people don't get a day of meals, apparently they go nuts, which is there is some truth to that, which you can see now going on in Sri Lanka. They're pretty ticked off. Which anybody who's hungry would be hangry at that point and then be ticked off. But they did go ahead. They got up local politicians. And this is why I say the whole January 6th thing is BS. Because if you want to see an insurrection, okay, you look at what's going on over in Sri Lanka. They're taking politicians. They're stripping them naked. They're hanging them. They're beating them up. They're torturing them and stuff like that. They're filming it and putting it on camera. Okay, I can't show you that kind of stuff over here. Not that that's that big of a deal for me, but then again, I'm a bit desensitized to all of that. But anyway, but yeah, this is what's going on. Do U.S. politicians want things to end up like this? Probably not. Will they be fine in it? Yeah. Because they can, scream in terror when, a couple of lost baby boomers and Q-tards go walking into the Capitol building and get lost, and you have the guy with the the guy with the Q shaman, on top of the speaker's podium. Give me a break, guys. Yeah. So here we are. So PolitiFact has also checked that it is not an attempt to create food shortages. Well, it may not be an attempt. And look at this guy's face. This is the face of this is a face you can trust. Look at this guy. You can trust him. He has a very trustworthy face. Look at him. He can't even take a picture right. This is this guy took a selfie and just put it up on PolitiFact. This is a professional picture. A literal neckbeard with 3 chins. It's telling you, the food processing plant is not going to sell. Well, I'll tell you what, he's going to be the one having a problem when there's going to be food shortages at this point. But regardless, and this is the thing. They go into, again, the same sort of thing. No, it's not planned because we don't have evidence to the fact. In this case, it's innocent until proven guilty. It's innocent until we find any sort of facts. Again, it can go either way. Is it planned? Maybe some of them are. I would say it's a mixture. Okay, it has a lot to do that we've been having a supply chain crisis since before then. Okay, because I said it even before the coup happened. Okay, how many of you guys were trying to get PS5s back in late 2019 and couldn't because there was a chip shortage? Okay, so this has been going on since before then. Now, of course, the whole COOF has exacerbated everything, definitely so, but it has just shown that the supply chain is built on a house of cards. Okay, and again, this is what's been going on. Here's what we know about the fires. Destroyed the headquarters of Azure Standard, a distributor of organic food into Oregon. A fire destroyed Taylor Farms processing facility in California. East Conway beef and pork. Fire destroyed the Penscott McCrum potato processing plant, etc., etc., etc. So we can go on from there. Our ruling. Facebook poach alleges that fires at 18 processing plants in the past 6 months are the result of an intentional attempt to starve Americans. The 12 were ruled accidental, 2 are still officially under investigation, and no official cause has been announced for the 3 others. There is no evidence that any of the fires were intentional. You just said they're still under investigation, so, I mean, it's kind of a, anyway. But yeah, this is what's going on. And like I said before, if you think our rail transport, because at least our freight railroad is pretty up to par. Right, our passenger rail system. Yes, definitely we have a problem with our passenger rail system, but that also goes into our freight rail system. It has been falling apart. I mean, there has been derailment even here in Indianapolis. There was a major derailment not too long ago, but this is the sort of thing that starts to interlink and connect with everything else, all through infrastructure. Okay, so. This is the problem. Now, Texas has its own grid. The Eastern Seaboard has its own sort of grid. The West does too. Alaska kind of has its own, and again, even Canada is also too. So when we're talking about America, we're talking about America and Canada as well. And Quebec has its own thing. I don't know. Maybe Quebec will secede. They've been threatening to do it for years. You think Texas has been bad about threatening about secession? You guys should look at what Quebec has been. Again, I'm not too familiar with what's going on at the current rate, but anyway. So here's our. According to this, by reaching the Midwest power grid will be extremely tight across the western United States. Power generation capacity has declined by 2.3% since last summer, even as demand is expected to increase. Grids in the region may have to source power from neighboring grids, as extreme heat will cause people to crank up their air conditioners. And again, this could be caused due to climate change or anything else that you want to attribute this to. Again, inclement weather has always been a thing. Okay, it either comes in cycles or maybe it is. And I don't agree with that position, but it's up to you guys. I agree that pollution is definitely a major issue, but. What's been being done to curb any of that? Really. So here we go. ERCOT has warned multiple times of grid stress as early summer, like heat waves, sent temperature in certain parts of the state into triple-digit territory. You have droughts going up. Again, summer of unrest. With the whole Roe v. Wade sort of thing, and now with banning the funds. That whole sort of thing. It's an election year, guys. We have to have some sort of conflict. That here, get ready for your bi-yearly, your biannual engineered conflict. You got to keep the circus going. You got to keep voting. So yeah, at the rate things are going, could America see itself somewhere to something like a Venezuela tier sort of kind? Maybe not Venezuela tier, but it's definitely going to there. Maybe we're getting there at the pace of California is building their high-speed rail to get to Venezuela tier economics, but it's definitely getting worse and worse. All right, now, why? Why is this happening? Well, one part of it is, like we said before, in the state of Texas, there has been groups or a group of people that we've talked about, a economic group that has been very much vehemently against high-speed rail, and that is big oil. Okay, as you can see, a Halliburton lobbyist. You can't make this up. Now, that's just one person. That's just one person. But we have seen multiple groups doing this. And again, former judge, now Representative Ben Lehman, who, at the age of 21, starting his own company. Okay, don't tell me that you built yourself up by the bootstraps and started an oil company in your basement. Okay, no, give me a break. A lot of these people, are start with the silver spoon. Okay, the whole thing that you can go ahead and build you up by your bootstraps is a lot less real than people want you to make it up to be. It's very much a lot more about who you know than what you know. It's a lot more about, like I said, it's a lot more about who you know than what you know that really denotes success in any sort of thing. But definitely the whole thing that you can pull yourself up and anybody can be anything in the United States and the American dream is very much a dream. It doesn't exist. At least to the point, it doesn't exist anywhere to the point that Hollywood likes to put it out, okay? Which all those people also have, their own group preferences and groups of people that they know. But when we talk about the oil lobby, and again, when we talked about electricity, since we're talking about electricity, why aren't we like France that has nuclear power and their electricity is cheap and they have the cleanest air in Europe? Why don't we have that? Well, and I've said this before. You guys didn't believe me, but I found the article and the evidence. Okay, so you guys can see. So the Sierra Club is one of the biggest green advocacy groups that are out there, right? But back in the 70s, what if we told you that an oil company went ahead and gave money over to the Sierra Club in order to go ahead and protest nuclear energy? Well, this did happen. Okay, and this continues to happen as well. You have this sort of thing because here's the thing. If you run a business and you can be able to go ahead and send Congress, to do things that are not to the benefit of the nation, but can be to the benefit of your own company, is it easier to go ahead and compete on a level playing field or go ahead and create the playing field? And this is what they've done. The airlines have done the same thing. The car companies have done, especially the big three. Okay, and we saw this back in the 80s. Japanese cars were better. Okay, they were superior to American cars. Okay, they had better gas mileage. They had better performance. They were easier to maintain. They weren't these big, giant, ugly-looking blocks or gas hogs or anything like that. They were fun cars to drive, and they were cheaper. Okay, but since the three automobile companies, especially GM, did not want to put in the R&D, or effectively did not want to put effective R&D in order to compete with these companies on an easy scale. They went ahead and lobbied the Reagan administration to go ahead and decrease the amount of imports or cap the amount of imports from Japan or put tariffs on them, and that's what they did. Okay, so this is this type of thing that happens. This is very normal. This is not a conspiracy or anything like that. Let's put it this way: it's not a theory. This is a fact. Again, you can be charged by the United States, courts and everything like that. You can be charged guilty of conspiracy. What is conspiracy? It is conspiring with a group of people, in order to plan out, X sort of event. Okay, with a group of people. Okay, now that's what a conspiracy is. Okay, and again, the United States charged, GM and Firestone and all these companies for the streetcar conspiracy back in the 50s. They charged them $5,000, but they said that they were guilty. Okay, that they were guilty of conspiring by these streetcar companies, taking the transit and the rails of these interconnected interurbans and streetcars that American cities had established there, and they worked fantastic. Okay, of course, these companies were starting to fall because they had their own issues as well, but they took advantage of that. So instead of trying to compete naturally with them, they went ahead, teamed up with the oil companies, teamed up with the rubber companies, and especially GM was the one leading the charge, went ahead, bought up all these companies, scrapped all the trains, and started selling buses. Okay? So yes, this sort of thing happens. Okay? It's not a false thing or anything like that, according to PolitiFact. Okay? We're not talking about the fires at the plants if they're a conspiracy or not. Which it seems to you guys, yes, it's planned. according to that. That yes, this is a plant. Okay, according 60% of you guys are now saying that. Okay, this is not me. This is we're just taking a poll, and again, this is not a scientific poll. We just have 20 votes. It's not a sufficient number in statistics in order to really go ahead. If we got like 30, 33, we can kind of say something. But yeah, this is what's going on. But yeah, this is what happened back in the 70s. The Sierra Club got money from several natural gas companies, and they still do. The Sierra Club, again, they've taken $110 million from Michael Bloomberg, and it's just the stuff that's out in the open, right? There's a lot more that's going on. Again, I can send this to you guys over here, and of course they push for solar energy, which solar energy, is great for individuals, but it's not that efficient for large grid energy consumption. It's just not. Nuclear energy is far better. And I've been the guy that's been saying this for a long time, too. I've been one of these guys. There's a whole lot of people that have been pushing for nuclear energy. But that's one position, at least in the club, that I've always held, like since the beginning of this club. Nuclear energy is by far more efficient and far safer, okay? There are more people that die to the pollution of natural gas and oil plants, which we do have a lot of oil plants in this country, that cause a lot more pollution, destruction to the environment, etc. So again, it's a conflict of interest, and they do this over and over again, which the Sierra Club used to be in favor of building nuclear power plants, but then they went ahead and completely switched their position once they got that money rolling in, once they got the shekels rolling in, they went ahead and changed their tune. That's what happened. And I'm pretty sure it wasn't in shekels, but it probably was in dollars. You get what I'm talking about. Again, yeah, this is what happens. And this is fun. Amory Lovins, a Sierra Club advisor, 1977, saying, quote, "It'd be a little short of disastrous for us to discover a source of clean, cheap, abundant energy because of what we would do with it." That's interesting. Amory Lovins. Anyway, and yeah, you can see this over here. And again, this is not just this website over here, Environmental Progress, which they're one of these other alternate groups that push for green energy, but actual sensible energy, and saying that against climate alarmism, which I agree with that. It's much more climate alarmism because it's become a business. Again, even Forbes says it over here. Why renewable advocates protect fossil fuel interests and not the climate? Okay, all these companies like BP and ExxonMobil and all these other large oil companies and everything, Shell and all that, they go ahead and promote all this sort of stuff, and they say we're pushing in billions of dollars to go ahead and do this. Meanwhile, gas has been going up. They're not really pushing to go ahead and extend pipelines or anything like that. And our country itself, or at least our politicians, are not putting in actual feasible alternatives to this. They keep pushing the same thing with wind power and solar power, when they go ahead and then pull the rug on these companies like Nancy Pelosi did and all that. Again, I'm all for solar energy. Look, and it's the thing. Even down in the state of Florida, it makes perfect sense for that. But then you have, again, big, large electric companies like FP&L went ahead and put in their own bill that they lobbied themselves to go ahead and make it illegal to be off-grid. They try to sneak it off as it's a solar bill. Oh, this is the solar bill for solar energy. But when you actually read the bill, it's all about, this is actually a bill that if you have solar energy, you cannot be off the grid in Florida, and it has to be connected on the grid. So if you get any excess energy, it goes back into the grid to FPL. That's the kind of issue that we're dealing with, and this is the problem with our own system of government. And again, we'll go into that in a later video, which I know I've been promising to do, but I've been finally getting it going now. Finally getting my stuff in order, so hopefully that should be out by this weekend or the beginning of next week. I want to get it out before the end of May, which at this rate right now we have 6 days left in May, so I can get it out. I can get it out of here, so I can finally get an actual video before the end of May and reach a quota there. Because I want to put one big video out per month and then get smaller videos going, at least to start out with. I think that's set. But yeah, and I've said it before. People like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, which I'm definitely not a fan of these two, honestly. Again, I'm all for clean energy. I'm all for clean air and all that. Why would I be pushing high-speed rail in the first place? Why would I quit and change my major to go from a career of mechanical engineering to go ahead and design cars to now go ahead and push for automobiles and not automobiles, to go ahead and push for trains? Because it makes sense. I'm a logical person. It's simple. And you look at the results of what it's done to this country, and this is what it's done to this country. This is what's going on right now. Okay? This is what happens when your country is high on oil and automobile culture. This is what happens. This is what happens. Okay? So yeah, this sort of thing is for real. And I'm not going to go into the details of it. You guys can see it there. If you want to go ahead and look it up, it's there. But I will get into it in a later video to really put it out there, because in the live streams it doesn't have that much of a reach. But anyway, yeah, this is what's going on. All right, and let's end this portion and then get into the chat over here and into the audience and calls. 9:33. Okay, so we're at an hour 30 minutes about. So we'll end it with this. Internet stranger. Let's see. Put this meme over here. Internet stranger. Taking a walk will help with depression where they live and then where you live. This is the problem. And again, it's probably like somewhere in Switzerland where, or in the Alps where, you do have access to trains and trams all over the place. Even somewhere like this. I mean, there are trams and trains that could be able to traverse even these sorts of environments. Okay? So, this is the sort of thing that we had. And this was something that was natural. This has been a natural way to build cities throughout all of human history. Now, again, things like famines and all that sort of stuff, that's happened. I mean, look, even in the Bible, I was rereading Genesis, and what did Joseph say to the Pharaoh in Genesis? Hey, look, we're going to have 7 years of hard times coming up, but we have 7 years to prepare. Let's go ahead and have our stockpile of wheat and food and everything like that so we can be prepared. It's so simple. It's been since the beginning of recorded history. Okay? It's even in the first book in the Bible. Prepare or you're gonna start starving. Okay, this is very simple stuff. Okay, but again, it's the simple things and the common sense things which get lost and leads to disasters. All right, so I could take a break. Maybe I should have at least had something this stream to drink or something like that. Especially because I've been working out back and forth all today. And that's the good thing about working from home. I can just go to the home gym, work out, and come back. Of course, it's not as, I still miss Holly. Of course, I always will do. That's never gonna go away. It was always nice to have someone there, for support that would, help out with the dishes and the cooking and stuff like that. It wasn't just for dishes and cooking. So again, like I said, just more support, having someone that always just had like a smile and I could just hug in the hallway, just like there on a random thing and just, boop on the nose. That was just nice to have. You always miss her. Lockbert with the $4 super chat. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. All right, so let's go ahead into the audience. Let's see who has their hands up, and we'll go from there. David Mitchell, the regular on here. You go ahead and be invited to speak and be on board, and we'll go ahead and talk about this. Again, keep it to 5 minutes, guys. 5 minutes. I'm going to keep my watch.
My God. Oh, bad bell for you.
Hey there.
Hey, you remember when you posted that scene in Facebook? I think that had to do with my post which got taken down.
Yeah, and again, the mods and administrators on there have been having a little bit of an issue, and again, we've all just been kind of off on that, but it's been what it is.
Yeah, I called it out on Facebook. Like, I called anybody who support plane and car and not rail need to get the heck out of there.
Yeah, it's very simple. It's like, Why are you on here? You have your own groups, get out.
Like I made the post, and then when I checked after you made the post, I couldn't find it afterward. Meaning one of the people you probably kicked out took it down.
Well, they weren't an admin, but I don't know. Something must have happened. I'm not quite sure about that. But anyway, yeah. Anything else you'd like to talk about, or share? Or?
Oh yeah. You remember when I brought up about the autonomous electric trucks?
Yeah.
I do not think it's going to work. Like, you remember when I sent you the post that talk about autonomous electric trucks are going to take railroading out of business?
No, I wouldn't say I don't think it's going to work. I know it's not going to work. And people saying that it's going to take trains out of business or out of their minds. Again, just changing the propulsion source of cars does not fix the issue with cars. It doesn't matter if we go from gas to electric.
Heck, have you watched We Need to Change Our Due Day Shipping video? You remember dude who made We Need to Change Our 2-Day Shipping?
I think I've seen that on YouTube. That was like a couple months ago or something like that. Yeah, and again, yeah, it goes back into this whole sort of just-in-time delivery supply chain that we're at. Is at the moment, there's a sneeze in the whole supply chain. You have these sort of large ripple effects and tremors that disrupt everything. And it's what happens when you can have chicken all gone, but you still have some beef and pork in the grocery stores because these sorts of things happen.
It's the same person who made why parking the garage suck video,
Yeah.
The city owner at that YouTuber.
Yeah, that guy. And I've been seeing it once again. I've been saying that I've been wanting to get people on here, and I know some people have been asking me to go ahead and interview a couple of people. I have asked Roaming Rail Fan. He's politely declined, and he wants to keep anonymity and all that sort of stuff. So that's perfectly fine. But I'm trying to bring in more established YouTubers and stuff like that. But again, I'm trying to establish my or at least our channel first. At least get back in the groove of things, and at least have a good full video up that's at least making rounds before I start saying, hey, look, here's this sort of wish-washy YouTuber who has little to no consistency over videos who wants to interview you. I don't want to be that guy. I want to be the guy that has something at least going consistently.
Yeah, I'm talking about Alan Fisher.
Yeah.
He made that 2-day shipping video, and if you did think about and connect the electric autonomous truck to that video, it's really not going to work. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we can't keep innovating to get our crap out of anything. Like, innovation is not going to work. Am I right?
I want to say innovation is not going to work because that kind of gets into, that you can misconstrue that to other things. I'm just saying we could just use what works.
Yeah.
Like what I have over here in the picture now. The top picture works. The bottom picture doesn't work. We can't live in a suburb punk society in the United States.
Exactly, right there. Like, saying I'm going to say it that, and this is the point where I'm going to say this. We got to change back to what used to work.
Exactly.
Am I right?
Absolutely.
Even Alan Flasher brought it up. Even he brought it up in the 2-day shipping video.
Yeah, and this sort of thing. And the thing is, if you look at again when I bring up history and human history in general, this sort of time that we're living in, is very much an anomaly in history. When was it in history that people could walk into food palaces where you had frozen food there, just ripe for the picking and stuff like that? You just, instead of hunting and going out for food or growing your own food, you just go ahead and you walk into your four-wheeled motorized cage to go drive down 2 miles to go ahead into your food palace, your air-conditioned food palace, to go ahead and pick porks, lamb shanks, and just throw them in your cart. And then, you give out your good boy points to go ahead and get them. And you drive back home. You sit in your motorized chair to drive back home. You know, this is an anomaly in history. Okay, that's the problem. It's very much, you know, a food and circus sort of thing that's just keeping the country away from actually doing stuff that really works.
Exactly, and the thing is the car are not really freedom. Let's be honest. Driving a car are not freedom at all.
No, it's not. Look, if I didn't have to own a car, I would like to have a car just, you know, because I'm a car enthusiast, and, you know, I like working on my own cars and stuff like that. And honestly, you know, having the freedom whether to choose whether you want a car or not is great. You know, because there are people in Japan that do have, you know, cars, but, you know, they'll keep them over for the weekends and stuff like that, or, you know, for car meets or to go drifting somewhere or stuff like that. You know, you see this all the time, or, you know, but in the United States, you're basically forced to have a car. It's either you're forced to have a car, or you'll be punished to go ahead and, you know, use these terrible bus stops. Yeah, was it Alan Fisher, or was it City Beautiful? No, I think it was. He was talking about you know, why business parks are terrible in the United States. I think it was Alan Fisher.
Yeah, Alan Fisher. Also, Alan Fisher explained why rail transit is better than bus transit.
Yeah.
Heck, dude brought up that we need to bring back more freight. And, I'm going to bring it up real quick. The NTFB really drilled into the Class 1 railroad.
Yeah.
They really got ripped into.
Yeah, well, we're getting out of time there, David. And last thing you want to say or anything like that?
Well, I hope that everything get better soon. Like, I'm hoping.
Yeah, same here, man.
I know I'm going to get worse before I get better. Like I said in that one video from over a year ago. I said it a year ago that it's going to get worse before I get better.
We were both right on that, man.
Yep. Like, here, Teen, the Class 1, they're probably going to start cracking down on Class 1s soon, you know?
Yep, most likely. All right, man.
And
pleasure having you on. I appreciate it, all right?
Man, well, have a good night.
You too, man. Take care.
Later.
Alrighty. Let me see. Aegis will be up next. Just to clarify something, Zhang Jiang in the comments said it's not just Bikes did the business parks videos. That's correct. Not Alan Fisher. It was not just Bikes. Again, a lot of these people I want to bring on and, you know, have conversations with and stuff like that, and get comments and questions from you guys in the audience. You know, make it again, we're a club. We have to make it a whole big thing, which is why we do these sorts of things. Again, if you guys want to go ahead and call in, the link to the Discord is pinned to the chat. So if you have a Discord account, come on in, join the ARC Discord, the ARC Grand Central. Come on in. We got our own place. All right. So Aegis will be invited to speak. Be up next. Again, guys, keep it at 5 minutes. All righty. Aegis, welcome aboard. All right. You're on mute, man. And he disappeared. Okay. Maybe Aegis will be back, but in the meantime, we will go ahead and get Rennell Reed. Rennell Reed, you have been invited to speak. All right, again, guys, keep it 5 minutes. Let's keep this train rolling. All right, Rennell Reed, you're on board. Rennell, I believe your mic is muted. All right, Rennell, going once.
Yep.
There we are.
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now, man. How's it going?
All right. I'm pleased about the exciting news about Brightline going into Orlando.
Oh yeah, that's been the best news so far. I would say of all the things that we've gone over, we have like I say, I'll keep the good stuff first, and then we just go over all the terrible stuff afterwards. But yeah, you know, that's probably the best amount of news so far. It's the brightest part of our repertoire right now.
You know, the roaming rail fan. I seen his video.
Yeah.
Where he put it up.
Oh yeah, it was fantastic. He was able to get in there and everything like that. It was great that Brightline was able to give him all the access to get into there and everything. So that's pretty good. You know, to be able to see it there from the cockpit and have the GoPro up on the side. Those were some good angles, honestly. Those were great.
Now, I look at something like that, and then I look at something like if the Amtrak were doing that project, it would be slow as molasses.
Most likely, yeah. I mean, it'd be kind of similar to what's going on in California.
Uh-huh. Now, I kind of have a lot to say here, but I'm going to go over it as quickly as possible within the 5 minutes.
Sure thing.
But, I'm kind of going to tie into remember your Amtrak rant video?
That seemed like a whole different time ago, man.
Uh-huh. And how you said they need to step their game up. Well, one thing I think they could do, maybe put Amtrak employees like waving to you as the train leaves or departs, like Brightline does.
Yeah, sort of little things like that do go a long way in at least giving people the appeal. It's like the same thing on cruise lines, you know, the little things like when they fold up your towels in animals and give you like little mints and chocolates in the bed. You know, it's those small little things that, you know, can brighten up your day.
And that's why I say, you know, maybe nationalization is not the solution, because we've had it for 50 years. More than 50 years.
Definitely the results of it have been, or at least the way that we have nationalized our passenger rail system through Amtrak has not been working. The method that's been going on has not been working.
And I see what's going on. I was recently on a train. You see how the equipment is just falling apart, you know?
Yeah, but at least Amtrak now is replacing a lot of their older equipment. At least the diesel trains are, you know, with the Siemens Chargers, you know, the Acela with the Avellia. So, I mean, at least there is something going on with Amtrak. I'll definitely say, you know, give Amtrak where it's due. I think this is the other second bit of good news, is good things to see. You know, Amtrak has been pushing forward.
Mm-hmm. But I think it's taken something like a Brightline for Amtrak to figure out that, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I do agree with that. With Brightline's introduction, probably, you know, Amtrak would not be moving as fast, because it's definitely, and when we see this when there are meetings up in Capitol Hill or in Congress, you know, Amtrak is still trying to be relevant while all the Congress people are asking for Brightline to go ahead and build something in their neck of the woods. So Amtrak has figured out now, it's like, you know, now we do actually have competition.
You see what's going on with Brightline now. Now, you know, Boca Raton, and they want a station.
Yeah, well, they are actually, they are constructing the station over there, and like we showed earlier in the stream, Aventura is also getting its own station as well, and with a bridge, a catwalk bridge to connect the station and the mall. Yeah, and the Aventura Mall is no joke. I mean, it's the largest mall in the South. So I mean, we're talking about a you know, very massive project, two massive projects to connect with each other.
Mm-hmm. I think I think it was Boca Raton leaders or Aventura leaders who were asking Brightline for a station, and I think Patrick said, "We're express rail. The point of our train is express and not having those little stops."
Right, the commuter lines, but they have opened it up so Tri-Rail can be able to do that. So they have enough platforms in order to facilitate both running Brightline, running the express version of Brightline, which will go like, you know, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, and then straight to Orlando, and then having the slower version of Brightline, you can sort of say, that will stop at more stations, you know, go Miami, Aventura, Fort Lauderdale, Boca, West Palm, and then maybe a couple of stops in between before Orlando. But definitely they don't want to go slower than that, right? They don't want to have stops, every 3 or 5 miles or so, similar to what Tri-Rail is. Tri-Rail is a commuter rail. Brightline is an express passenger rail system. So it has to keep to that.
And I think before Brightline came, Amtrak was, they weren't moving. They weren't moving, like you said in a previous stream. They're not moving at all. Like the kid who was getting B's and C's.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely lit a fire under their rear end. Honestly,
years.
A very bright one indeed.
For 50 years.
Yeah. And it just goes to show you again, anything, especially through the United States government, is very stuck in a bureaucratic process, and they just want to keep things business as usual. After all, if you're going to keep getting free money, why compete?
But with that tunnel in Baltimore, I don't think that's going to be a new tunnel till like 2032 or something.
Again, that's a whole other thing, and it's just quite sad that we can't build as fast as other countries are building. Somebody put up on the group how China builds a station in one day or something ridiculous like that, which could you build something in one day? Yeah, but as like the saying goes, Rome wasn't built in a day. And honestly, I'd be a little bit careful, especially with the escalators in China, going in a station that was built in one day. But hey, it just goes to show you again, it's the same sort of thing. At least in the broad spectrum of it. Look at how fast and look at like what they're able to do. Versus our country when we used to be able to do, stuff as crazy like that, building, the overseas railroad and all these other things that we built. We're still using those sort of same systems, like the Baltimore Tunnel and stuff like that. That was an insane amount of engineering back at the time that was built. But, we're in 2022 now. We're not in the 1870s.
Hundreds.
Yeah. That was high technology for the 1800s. Exactly.
I think Brightline could also try the Northeast Corridor, like New York, New Haven. There's some really high ridership routes they could go on.
Yeah, probably in the future, but right now what they're doing is perfectly fine, and what their focus right now is getting the Orlando service all up and running,
Orlando
and
to Miami.
Yeah, and then focusing on Las Vegas. And I say that once they start getting all that done, then move on to the next thing. It can all be from there. Maybe Georgia to Charlotte, maybe
Atlanta, Charlotte.
Yeah, Atlanta to Charlotte, or maybe St. Louis to Chicago. Again, there were so many city pairs that they can be able to do. All right, Renell, yeah. I appreciate you coming on, man. It's been a pleasure.
Last thing,
sure thing.
I think they're really doing it because they see what's going on in Florida. That's why they're doing the ventures too. Yeah.
And again, why even go to another company when Siemens is already doing it? They already have the technology, and it's
Alstom.
Yeah, it's good enough. Or at least with Alstom, yeah, that's the other one for the Avelias. Mm-hmm. But maybe we'll see Siemens Valeros here in the United States soon in Brightline West.
More delays with the Avelias. They're not going to go till 2023.
Right, but I mean, at least they're there.
There.
Yeah. And anyway, all right, man. It was a pleasure having you on. I appreciate it.
You too.
All right. Take care. All right. Last person in here in the audience with their hands up is Aegis. All right. Let's try this again. Hopefully everything is working. Aegis, you are on board.
Hello.
All right, man. How's it going?
Hello there.
I can hear
Hello?
you. Loud and clear.
Oh, thank goodness. In approximately nearly 1 week, I am out of here and I'm off to college.
All right, congrats, man.
Graduated next week, Friday at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I am completely done with my entire compulsory school career. And I'm glad.
Congratulations, man. And everybody, let's give a shout out in the chat over here for Aegis, who's graduating.
Memories. Spoke with a member of the House on the House of Representatives. Nearly became chief in ROTC, but that means nothing.
No, it's still something, man. That does go. I mean, in relative to where you are right now, that is a big thing. It's like, when I was class president back when I was in high school. Later on doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but at least at that time it does lead to more and more things later on.
Yeah, I know. It just you're not gonna get your special little 10% discount on whatever food or beverage at the local Chick-fil-A or whatever.
Well, I mean, if you want to do ROTC in college, you can always do that too.
Yeah. Problem is, I'm not gonna really go into service.
No, I don't blame you. I suggest more of everyone, don't join now. It's not a good idea.
Yeah, civil. Yeah, unless you're gonna try going up for the big old officer position. But I'm not here to complain about life. I'm here to complain about rail. So.
Don't we always do that?
So I have been. So, I know there's something that we have really never talked about. That's effective rural regional rail. Think about it. We always discuss about these big urban population centers, say like a good 1 million metro areas, 2 million metro areas. We don't really think about our business or areas like Bismarck, North Dakota, North or South Dakota. I'm not as stupid on geography. I literally was the king of my geography bee. But if you're talking about, North Dakota, Bismarck. So think about there. Think about those little regional little centers out in the middle of nowhere in terms of people living on the coast and all that stuff like that. It's still a very important, it's still a major regional hub, even if it's small. Say not as hundreds of thousands, maybe 200,000, 50,000, 255,000 up to not this or 500,000.
Yeah, no, and I agree. Relative to their size, and especially let's say a state like North and South Dakota, relative to their size, that's their big major population area.
Yeah.
But to go ahead and say something like that, to start building there. Again, you start to get into the same sorts of issues that, what's going to be more efficient?
You're not saying you build high-speed rail. I'm saying, those little diesel multiple units you see out in Germany,
that one, yeah. Again,
That's what I'm saying over there.
I wasn't at all saying, doing something let's put a Shinkansen in North Dakota or something like that. No, I definitely get what you're saying.
That.
Yeah.
It's that, and the thing is, it will be a lot cheaper than what you think it might be. There's just a small, because in this case, even more connected than say someplace out there in California, because literally everything follows the rail line. All the major cities have a typical they're on these main lines out, busy class 1 main lines. So it's easy to say if I was in Billings, Montana, and I want to go over to say I'm out in say Park City, you can have say a good, maybe not necessarily hourly to 30 to 30 to maybe even 15 minutes 15-minute peak times for say a small diesel multiple, for say a small little diesel multiple unit to come pick you up and take you to work somewhere in downtown Billings.
Right.
That's what I think that we don't really talk about, because it's not the big fancy woo, the big headline grabber, because this is gonna go someplace out in.
Yeah,
and I think,
and I agree with that sentiment. I know we've covered for example some lines in Colorado and other places like that, especially in the Plains region where there's not as much in terms of rail connectivity. But you're right, and again, at least the reason why there's a lot of focus with a lot of the larger urban areas and urban centers has to do with most people are going to be living in those areas, so the need for rail transportation is going to be bigger, and B, if it works in those areas, the chances that it can work in smaller cases like what you're bringing up with, it also increases from there, because then people say, hey, it's working for these big cities. Maybe we can go ahead and have something that's adapted for our needs and for our set and purposes.
Yeah, that's what I'm. Yeah, the thing is that I think it could also a lot of good things to say, like people who are like people like say like, or like say Republicans out like say out in like Montana say we don't want to pay for whatever the hell is over in Seattle or something like that, or whatever down in like Denver. We're not going to pay for that. But if you give them say a local little example like that's literally right on their doorstep, you can say we can say like maybe like a good price tag, maybe like 15 to at most $100 million for like track upgrades, stuff like that. Like it's not going to require that much. Like just upgrade to say like a good, maybe like just say like your standard 79 miles per hour, maybe like say 85, 90 at most, for like these. And again, it's not going to require that much upgrades compared to say as much or cost as much as say someplace like in Los Angeles.
Gotcha. All right, we're running a little bit closer on time. Any last thing you want to put out there?
Yeah. So, have anyone been checking into pedestrian observations? Because that is a very good source, very great source. It's run by this guy.
Oh yeah, by Anton. I'm sorry, not Anton. By Levy. What's his first name? I just forgot.
Elon.
Yeah.
Elon
LeVay, yeah. I was gonna say Anton LaVey, but oh man. But anyway, yeah, he's not a Satanist. But anyway, yeah, no, that's a pretty good. I've been following his blog for years, and he's definitely pretty on. I think he was doing a project working on for Amtrak on how they can be able to upgrade the Northeast Corridor. Not that Amtrak is ever going to listen to it, but I definitely do think he.
You never know.
Yeah. We never know, but I can guarantee that's probably not going to happen. Which Amtrak has been given good advice so many times before, and so many people are advisors that could absolutely help Amtrak. But
yeah,
again, it takes a little bit for them to actually get going. And like Rennell said in the last stream, I do agree with the fact that if it were not for Brightline, Amtrak would not be trying harder now as they're doing at the moment.
Oh, definitely. And in some cases, here's the ironic thing is, if you go down to say like, especially say Mexico, which is a good example of what happens if Amtrak would not exist, and if say passenger rail was left like in its current state, was not let to just continue to decay and decrepit and become even more decrepit than it was.
Right.
Like they look to Amtrak as an example for a long time about bringing back stuff.
Yeah, and that would be nice to have that sort of connection there, at least for their country.
Yeah, like if you look at like old photos of the whole Mexican passenger trains in the 1980s, you will see these little freight 4-axle diesels. All I can say, like just like a boxcar functioning is basically just like a baggage car or a vestibule, and just look like they are one of the like if you thought that if you say stuff like what we had over like the late 1960s, that would have for like our stuff like Penn Central looks better. Like I'm not kidding you. Penn Central looks better than whatever Nash NDM was doing.
I'm not too familiar with what Mexican Rail was back in the 80s, but I mean that definitely is something to look at. Alrighty, man. I do appreciate you coming on here and for the conversation. And again, congratulations on graduating and getting to college, man.
Right. I'll probably be talking to you up in my dorm room like late at night or something like that.
No problem. But don't stay up too late, man.
I promise you, I'm not gonna be like up to like 4 in the morning. Like I'm gonna have a limit. It's gonna be around 10 o'clock because I'm gonna still keep up to my little military schedule up to 4 in the morning, just so I can just go out and just work work myself out to get my brain started
keep
up with the day.
keep consistent, man.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what you got to do. Alrighty,
All right.
take care, man. God bless.
All right. God bless. Godspeed.
Godspeed. Alrighty, guys. So that was everyone here in the chat in Discord. That is the end of that. We will check over a little bit here in the chat. Over here, let's go ahead and end the poll. And finally, we have our 33 votes. We have our 33 votes to kind of make our poll sort of scientific. So again, our poll ends with 63% of. Oh, I just ended the poll there by accident, but yeah, it was 63% of people do say that this is a whole planned out conspiracy of what's going on with the fires and derailments. To what extent, we don't know. 60%, there we are. Food plants on fire, planned or coincidence. 60% of you say yes, 39% of you say no, and that is with a poll of 33 votes. All right, anything else over here in the chat that seems interesting to talk about? David Jackson, I guess some advice for Aegis: save money for a car after college. You're gonna need it. Well, things can change in 4 years. We don't know, or if he's going for a 2-year or 4-year degree. But most people go for a 4-year. But again, we never know. Things have changed in 2 years. Okay, so we never know. Save money, period. Maybe at this point, save silver or gold. Maybe 5.56 and 9mm at this point. The way things are going, I don't know. 3 of many problems in California high-speed rail: remote work versus commute, no more population growth, slow at best, and the huge cost and time to build tunnels. That's definitely a good point over there. Again, and I said before, this whole remote work, and again, the remote work is not the issue. It's a symptom of a problem, right? And the symptom being that our economic system is very much based on a service economy. We don't make things. You don't go to the factory, and go ahead and, start building out steel and stuff like that. We don't have that anymore, okay? Or you go and wake up and go and do something physical. Okay, you don't have that sort of job anymore. Which again, a lot of these jobs can be outsourced to third parties, to AI, to remote work and stuff like that. Especially when it comes to stuff that you're doing in the office. I mean, come on, like the stuff that I was doing, most of the time the meetings we were doing was just busy work meetings or meetings to go ahead and talk about other meetings, to then go through that meeting to talk about the next meeting. That's basically meetings in Fortune 500 companies now. And believe me, I've been through enough to go ahead and see it. I don't need to be there. And that's the thing. People can work at these companies for 20, 30 years and not notice things. Which is why we're in the problems that we have right now, because everything is, people are content with the status quo. Or want to keep the status quo and don't see anything wrong with the status quo. As long as they can go ahead and BS at work, come back home and put on Netflix and have a terrible meal, then life is good. But hey, things can change, man. Things can change. But anyway, all right. Let's see any other comments over here that are worth mentioning. Bring back downtowns, lower the cost of living. If people don't have to own a car, that's another expense that can be spent on human development. Yeah, again, it's not to force people to live in apartments. Again, in the course of human history, you have had large city centers, places like Rome or Constantinople, or Paris, in Egypt and other places, Tokyo or Edo as it was back in the time, or Peking, Beijing, these were places that are, let's say like, Jerusalem, okay? These were large, very old city centers that people have existed in. And then around it, you've had towns and everything like that. The problem with suburbs is that it extends the same sort of mentality as an urban area and sprawls that out. And these are non-organic, very forced, subversive type of housing developments that are unnatural, okay? And honestly, they're very terrible for the human mind and being. You know, people talk up a lot about, you know, what's going on with, you know, you say that the horrible events that have transpired in the last several weeks. You know, again, but a lot of the commonalities that I see of this, like, you know, a lot of these kids are growing up in suburban areas without any sort of mental help or, you know, stable mental area where they can have a friend or, you know, communities. Look, and you guys have been in suburbs, okay? Suburbs are not community, okay? Let's be honest, okay? I go out in the backyards of, you know, suburbs, and there's nobody there. It's just grass in everybody's backyards. All this grass for everybody there to not do anything, okay? Not even the dogs use the grass. I think the only dogs that actually go ahead and use the grass are me and Holly's dogs that go ahead and use the grass. But all this grass, nobody uses it. Nobody does anything with it. You know, it's just there to go ahead and mow every week. You know, then why have the grass? You know, what's the whole point? And then there's no sidewalks in a lot of these suburbs, so they're these stupid small little sidewalks, or basically none at all. Nobody really knows each other, like not even their next door neighbor. Like, you know, they'll say like hi, you know, here or there, maybe chit chat for, you know, 5 minutes or so, and then be about their day. You know, but there's nothing like that. And then when there's large functions or barbecues or people's parties, you know, the neighborhood doesn't. This is the other thing that you know. Again, this is what proves my point. The neighborhood does not come to everybody's birthday party. You see a whole bunch of cars parked out in front of a house to go ahead and go to little Timmy's birthday party. Again, so they invite everybody else to go in their cars to go ahead and come to the suburban house in XY, you know, Stupidville street somewhere, you know, and the same sort of thing happens. Again, there's no natural communities where families used to live, you know, right next door to each other. Okay, you had, you know, one person living here, the cousins living there, or in a city you had, you know, a whole family living in one building, or, you know, in apartments down there, and then they had like their businesses down on the bottom floor. Okay, this has been even since, like, you know, we're talking about the Roman Empire. Okay, you had apartments in ancient Rome where people had businesses downstairs and slept or lived upstairs. So this is not a new or novel idea. This has been around for a long time. Again, this goes beyond the train. This goes to the whole entire aspect of how we live and interact as human beings. That's what it means. But we'll talk about that. David Jackson, the neighbor's dog used my lawn. Exactly. What is a good suburb from a bad suburb? That's a whole other thing. Again, the thing is with suburbs, again, is that they're urbans. They're subpar to urban areas. Okay, if you can't have it both, you can't have it both ways. You can't have, you know, the space of a rural area with an urban setting. You can't have that. You cannot have one or the other. That's what it is. Suburbs safer than cities, though more boring. Go to Tokyo. Go to a city that actually works, and you'll see what a safe city is. It's really very much an American issue, honestly. But that's a whole other topic for a whole other day. All right, guys. I think that's it. Well, so I don't have another diatribe and go into here talking about why I hate the suburbs again. But anyway, all right. So thank you all for coming on board. Again, we're going to be having a video coming about very soon, so I will keep you guys up to date with that. I'll probably put some updates here on the channel or on Patreon. I'll get back to sharing out memes and posts on YouTube and stuff like that, and start getting back the activity up on there. I know I kept saying that, but you know what? I'm going to start doing that. All right, guys. Thank you all for coming on board. I think I should have something, so dessert or something like that. I haven't eaten that much today. Anyway, Godspeed. We will see you on board the American Rail Club next time. Take care.